Lighting's not so great. All right, so here's my morning rant. I just got out of this sauna sitting behind me. That's why I'm not wearing a shirt, because I'm a bit hot. But while I was in the sauna, I was just reading articles about parasites being implanted into people's digestive systems. So people are actually, with celiac disease, are going to a hospital, and they're literally putting parasites into people so that they will no longer have symptoms of eating gluten, no longer have symptoms of eating the crap foods that they have. And on this post, people are like, oh yeah, you can get parasites and you can eat whatever you want, you'll never have any symptoms. Yeah, it's great. Yay. In my opinion, this is the absolute height of ignorance within our civilization, within our population. It's crazy. And even in the last months, there's, research done, and now you can take pills with human fecal matter. You can literally take a pill. You can eat someone else's shit to help your digestive system, to rebuild the bacteria in your digestive system. Oh, thank God, pharmaceutical companies. Thank God, medical industry. What would we do without you? Well, I'll tell you what we'd do without you. We would heal ourselves. We'd get back to Mother Nature. We'd get back to principles of eating fresh fruits and vegetables and healing ourselves. If you go all the way back to the origins of the medical system, it all goes all the way back to Hippocrates. Hippocrates, by the way, studied in Egypt. He studied there for 7 years, and he became a basic physician, and he shared some of the most brilliant knowledge with the West and established, modern medicine. What did Hippocrates do? He said, let food be thy medicine, let thy medicine be thy food. If you look at the original caduceus, which is 2 snakes intertwined around a staff, this was the sign of the medical industry. This was the sign of the healers. If you look up the history of Imhotep IV, or Amenhotep IV, Asclepius, he was the first great healer. Not the first, but he was a great healer of ancient Egypt who was well known. Okay? So where does this symbol come from? 2 snakes wrapped around a pole. Well, I'll share a little something with you. Original healers, and healers for thousands of years, would take people through a process of healing. How did they take people through a process of healing? Typically, they'd take them out to a river, and they would have them do something called fasting. And they would get them out into the sun and being blessed by the sun's rays. The sun is the greatest detoxifier. It pulls stuff, it pulls toxins out of the body. We're meant to sweat to get rid of toxins out of our body. When people get cancer, supposedly from being in the sun, that's the sun drawing cancer out of the body. And it's probably better that you have skin cancer than liver or pancreatic or lung or any other types of cancer, because the sun is pulling it out. So these healers would take people and put them in the sun and take them to the river and have them rest and have them drink water. They would take a long gourd of a bamboo stalk and hollow it out, and they would create enemas. And they would get water and put it in the sun and warm it up. And they would administer enemas. They would clean people out from top to bottom. They would have them fast. And during the process of fasting, our body goes through many stages of healing itself. And now there's brilliant medical science to prove this. It's beautiful. When we go 3 days without food, 3 days on water specifically, our body goes into ketosis, which is a fat-burning state. When it's in a fat-burning state, it creates what's called embryonic-style stem cells. So our body starts to regenerate itself. Studies at Hull Biological Laboratories at the University of Chicago says that our metabolism is boosted. It says that our cells, a 40-year-old male fasted for 2 weeks, cellular physiology goes back to that of a 17-year-old. So our body regenerates itself. And I'll tell you where the staff and the snakes come in. The symbol of the caduceus. The Pontifex Rex and the caduceus are the original symbols of the medical industry, and you can still see them all over. Healers would go out and extract parasites from people. They would take people and fast them and put them on fresh foods and alkalize their bodies and give them fibers and do all these techniques. Hot water therapy, cold water therapy, getting into the sun, breathing exercises, meditation, stretching, oxygenating the body, detoxifying the body, cleaning the skin, going through all these processes of helping people to heal. And when people started to heal, when all of a sudden people started to become alkaline and started to become oxygen rich, and they started moving the shit out of their digestive system, all of a sudden parasites would come out. And this is where, if you go back in history and look at the battle between darkness and light, look at, do you have a temple of light or a temple of darkness, and see what the Essenes were talking about, and see what the original, Christians and people were talking about. They were talking about the body either being a temple of light or a temple of darkness, depending on what you were putting in your body. There's a universal principle, a thing like unto itself is drawn. If you're eating toxic, dead, processed crap all day long, guess what? You're going to become toxic, dead, toxic crap. That's what you become. So essentially what I'm sharing here is that as individuals were healing, the healer would have to extract parasites. And I've seen parasites come out of people's skin. I've seen parasites come out of people's rears. Massive parasites, little parasites, balls of parasites. I run fasting retreats here in Bali for 30 days. I've fasted people 10 days on water, 21 days on water, up to 40 days on water. And I can tell you that the amount of parasites and the amount of filth and toxicity that comes out of people is shocking. And most of you might not believe this, but look into it. I've fasted dozens of people through extended periods on water and doing very specific protocols to get rid of parasites. And when people get rid of these parasites, their symptoms go away. They feel amazing. They have all of a sudden life force and energy and clarity and a connection unlike anything that they've had in a very long time. So when I'm sitting here and I'm seeing these articles of people having parasites surgically implanted or just taking the eggs and actually having these things put into their body to prevent celiacs, it's a facepalm. Because people don't get it. The medical industry has turned in from an industry that was there to heal people, original healers, into an industry that's allopathic medicine. It means put on a Band-Aid, ignore it, cover up the symptoms, and just keep doing what you're doing. Every hospital is cut, burn, and poison. We can cut it out with surgery, we can poison you with medication, or, we can radiate you with radiation. Cut, burn, and poison. They can burn you with radiation. They can cut you. They can give you pharmaceutical drugs, which are poisons. And they're doing everything to mask symptoms. So if you have a symptom of disease, if all of a sudden you eat something like wheat, and all of a sudden you have pain in your digestive system and all kinds of symptoms coming up, that means that you've accumulated a level of toxicity, you've damaged your system to a degree that now it's degraded. And what you need to do is rebuild the system. I have friends that have had celiac disease. John Abbott, lives here in Bali. He's one of them. Had celiac disease and he started fasting. He would do 10 days on water at a time. Guess what? After about his second or third fast, he does it 3 or 4 times a year. Now he can eat wheat and he has no problem whatsoever. And there's other reasons behind that I'm not going to get into right now. But essentially, putting parasites into your body so that you don't have symptoms when you eat wheat is just complete nonsense. Why don't you think you have symptoms now? Well, the reason is because your parasites are eating the food you're ingesting. So now all of a sudden, everything you eat, hold on a second, everything you eat, parasites are eating it now? And you're not having symptoms that you used to have when you used to eat that food? Oh, yay, no symptoms. Well, how the hell are you getting nutrition? If your parasites are eating all the food and shitting, and that's the nutrition you're getting. You're getting parasite shit for your nutrition. And then there's other individuals nowadays that have digestive issues that are literally taking pills full of other humans' shit. Literally. And people are like, oh, thank God for modern medicine. Thank God, that we can now eat people's shit and have good bacterial digestive systems. Are you fucking kidding me? That is ridiculous. Eating shit? Like, haven't you ever heard of E. coli? Haven't you ever heard of all these other bacteria that could potentially cause disease? Come on, look at what ancient cultures and people all around the world have been doing to fix their digestive system or keep a good digestive system their entire lives. Eat fermented foods. Eat yogurts. Have sauerkraut. Eat kimchi. These types of foods have probiotics. These types of foods have enzymes. These types of foods build our gut. The Germans eat sauerkraut before they have dinner because it helps us to break down proteins. It balances the pH of the stomach. Sauerkraut is one of the most beautiful whole foods. It's just cabbage and salt fermented. Some of the most amazing probiotics in there. You can add garlic or onions, chop them up, put it in there. You won't even taste the garlic if you chop it up and put it in with sauerkraut. And that's one of the world's greatest prebiotics. So it feeds all the good probiotics in your gut and also kills all of the bad bacteria at the same time with allicin and other nutrients inside of garlic and even onions. Onions clean out the cells. That's why when you cut an onion, you start to cry because all the cells within your eye cells start to detoxify. So we need to get back to basic principles of eating whole foods. When you eat fresh fruit, probiotics feed on that fiber. When you eat fresh fruit, there's a level of fermentation that creates probiotics within the gut. We are frugivore by nature. If you look at physiologically, you look at an orangutan or an ape, that we are nearly identical. They're frugivore by nature. They eat fruits. So we need to get away from the hype and the bullshit that, fruit has sugar, it's bad for you, it causes cancer, oh my God. No, fruit reverses cancer. Fruit alkalizes the system. It hydrates your body. If you go to the American Cancer Society's website, they spend hundreds of millions of dollars per year on actual research of cancer. And what do they say? They say eat fruit every day. They say eat it 3 to 5 times a day. In fact, they say eat fruit with every meal and as a snack to prevent and even slow cancer growth. But everybody's caught up on this fermentation of sugars for tumors. Oh my God, don't eat anything with sugar. That's processed sugar. That's highly acidic white sugar that causes that process. Why? Because it's acidic. A tumor is bathed in an acidic bath, basically, and it creates a process of fermentations of sugars to cause its own growth. Well, when you eat fresh fruit, guess what? The system gets alkalized and it stops that process. Taking things like bicarbonate of soda. I've got my 3rd liter of water here, and it's probably only like 9 o'clock in the morning. I've got some bicarbonate of soda in this one. I'm alkalizing my body. A few hours will come around, I'll eat some fresh fruit. And this will alkalize my body. It'll give me tons of vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients, all the things that my body loves. All the colors of fruits is what we need to be looking for. Carotenes in papaya, carotene in carrots, anything that's orange. You look at actual research of beta-carotene and carotene in general, it reverses cancer. But guess what? When you take beta-carotene supplements, studies show it actually enhances cancer. It causes cancer growth, and it causes premature death. So we need to get away from extractions and supplements and popping pills, and we need to get back to the simplicity of just eating whole food. It makes sense. Our senses know how to make sense of things. When we see something that is beautiful, it activates nutritional processes within the body. When we smell a beautiful organic papaya or mango or pineapple or whatever the food is, a tomato, we smell it, it activates nutritional processes within the body. It causes us to salivate. That salivation breaks down cellulose in the plants. It helps us to digest the food. You chew it really well, and it's an orgasmic experience. Nutrition is meant to be an orgasmic experience, period. We're meant to get pleasure from whole foods. So many people are lost and emotionally retarded, emotionally suppressed. Why? Because they're not feeding their emotions. Eating fresh whole foods off of a tree, off of a plant, berries, fresh fruits, vegetables, things that actually taste good, capsicum, all these beautiful types of things that when we're connected with nature and not disconnected and stuck on artificial whole foods and colorings and flavorings and all this crap, our senses and our even sense of taste becomes enhanced, and these things become orgasmic. And this orgasmic experience is what gives us nutrition in general. It's what establishes our gut. It's what gives us good digestive systems so that we'll never need to have parasites implanted into us. And in fact, you don't even need to implant the parasites. Just go eat a bunch of meat. Eat a bunch of dead foods. Become acidic, and parasites will start to grow in your body. I would say about 95 to 98% of the population already has parasites anyway. And you'll discover this. I fast people at my retreats 4, 5, 6 times a year. I got 50 people coming in about 2 weeks to do a fast from Australia and around the world. In January, I have another about 8 to 10 people coming for 30 days to do an extended water fast. And guess what? We will see parasites and plaque and the most disgusting filth come out of these people within that time. And when it comes out, these people will feel better. They will heal from different types of conditions. So let's not induce parasites into our bodies. Let's not eat other human shit. Let's get back to basic principles of health, building our gut with fermented foods, building our gut with fresh fruits and vegetables, eating in season, and doing other basic principles to bring about a situation of health. If you want to know more, look up some of my articles, ask some questions, let's have a conversation. That's my rant for this morning. Please don't buy into ingesting parasites for any form of disease. We need to get rid of that stuff. We need to heal our bodies. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.